This is Connor Bedard, the 2023 first overall pick, who came into the league with generational hype and in his rookie year lived up to it in every way. But this year has brought a whole new set of challenges. The longest goalless streak of his career, combined with another season of the Blackhawks being straight up awful, has been a lot for the 19-year-old phenom. With another young star rising, fans are quick to compare and make assumptions about who's the better teenage player. Yet, despite all the noise, Connor Bedard still leads the Blackhawks in points. So, what exactly is going on here? Being deemed the next one while failing to have team success brings a lot of noise, but it's highlighting the harsh truth for Bedard's game and his current situation. Last year, Connor Bedard won the Calder Trophy with 61 points in 68 games. Coming into this season with a full year under his belt and new additions to the Blackhawks lineup, there were certainly expectations of improvement. But very clearly, that just hasn't been the case. The Blackhawks are stapled firmly to the basement of the league, and their 19-year-old franchise center has been quite outspoken about the lack of confidence in his game. It's even gotten to the point where he admitted publicly that he feels like he's doing nothing out there. That is something you never want to hear about your franchise centerman, but there's more that meets the eye when it comes to Bedard's situation. From afar, there's a couple reasons why Bedard is struggling, which might make some headlines. First, the kid has zero help offensively, and he seems to be stuck in a carousel of line juggles to try and find the right mix. Even as an established superstar, getting constantly moved around is just not a successful formula. But saying it's solely on his line mates doesn't really offer a solution for Bedard's game or really dive into what's wrong. As a superstar talent, the expectation is that you drive the play, even if you don't exactly have the help to finish it. Bedard expects this out of himself, and last year he was doing it consistently. However, it's easy to forget that Connor Bedard is still just a 19-year-old center in the NHL. And as a center, there's an added layer of difficulty to the game. You're expected to play down low, win one-on-one battles, and drive the play on both sides of the puck. However, Chicago sucks because they're rebuilding, so they spend a ton of time in their own zone. Bedard specifically spends around 38% of his time in the D zone according to NHL Edge stats, which isn't horrible considering that league average among forwards and defenders is around 39%. But when you look at centers who Bedard is projected to be like in McDavid and McKinnon, they hover around the low 30s for time spent in the D zone. Even a center like Marty Necas is around this mark as well. Now, of course, these are franchise or elite centers who are on far better teams. Since everyone's comparing the two, you can see that Bedard and Celebrini spend roughly the same amount of time in their own zone. So the objective for Chicago is how well can they limit Bedard's time spent in his own end while getting him the puck in transition for offense. The primary way to do this is through double teams. Chicago, for the most part, plays a man-on-man system in their own end. But with Bedard as the center, Chicago is okay with having him lurk freely down low and join in on a check to double team the puck carrier. Here, as the center holds the middle and Chicago collapses, the puck is going to roll high and coverages begin to switch with it being man-on-man, so Bedard is going to sprint across. But here's the difference. As this play goes into the corner, Bedard is going to double team this check with his teammate instead of attaching down low to McDavid. A quick stick lift from Bedard and Chicago is off to the races. Zone entry to a patented laser beam is how Chicago basically wants every single play to go, but that's just not realistic. Because Chicago plays a lot of man-on-man, there's a lot of switches and communications that are required to have success. Even if you're a second behind on picking up your check like Bedard is here, that's all the difference in giving up a quality chance against. Bedard is actually decent at defending his own end because he has an incredible hockey IQ and he's got a knack for timing stick lifts and checks to break up plays without having to be overtly physical. So even though Bedard is relatively good at making reads to get the puck back, the system itself is incredibly hard to execute, especially when you're not a solid defensive team. The result has Bedard in his end more often and without the puck. The other glaring issue is face-offs. Connor Bedard's face-off percentage right now is sitting at a brutal 29.7%, and he wasn't very good last year either, going at just 39%. Now, it's pretty standard for rookies and younger players to struggle in the draw. Sidney Crosby went through the same thing early in his career, with his face-off percentage being in the 40s in his first 2 years. Now, he's simply one of the best in the game in the draw. A lot of success comes over time in a player's career, along with the strength, timing, and knowing how to cheat in the face-off dot. Bedard is still very green in this area. Even when he's on his strong side or his backhand, players are simply able to overpower him and snap it back. On this face-off here, just look at Dylan Larkin's stick compared to Bedard's stick by the time the ref raises the puck. Both sticks are supposed to be in the white ice, but that's the difference in experience. Larkin knows what he can get away with. Naturally, anytime you're 29% on the draw, it means you're starting almost every shift without the puck, which, of course, puts more pressure on Bedard and Chicago to defend. Now, since he struggles on the draw, the logical solution is to try him on the wing. Now, take this play here. Nick Foligno, as the center, worries about being the low man, while Bedard, off screen, can hang high for a quick counter. Once a quick turnover happens, Bedard gets possession, attacks the middle, and gets a solid scoring chance. A line of Bedard, Joey Anderson, and Jason Dickinson is laughable for trying to create offense, yet Chicago has deployed it as of late. But Bedard's skill and playmaking still allows him to elevate those players offensively at times. Predictably, however, it's not the answer offensively. On the wing, Bedard's line mates can't consistently get him the puck and don't really have the skill to capitalize on a potential rush chance. But when he's playing center with guys like Teravainen and Hall, there's definitely more to work with there offensively. That's why for the Hawks and Bedard, him on the wing is just a band-aid solution. And it's not even really a solution since their center depth is awful. Then, of course, is the goal scoring. 12 games without a goal was the longest drought of his career. He even said he would have taken a puck off the face just to see one fall in. Last season, Bedard scored 22 goals, and aside from beating goalies with his ridiculous shot from range, where he was able to score most of his goals was with his timing into the offensive space. By perfectly hitting gaps in between checks and off the rush, Bedard was able to frequently let it fly from the high-danger slot area. Last year, 55.7% of Bedard's shot attempts came from the slot. This year, that's down to 50.4%. Again, you can probably attribute that to constant line shuffling, as Bedard has played at least 20 minutes with 8 different forwards when even strength this season. That type of inconsistency makes it difficult to build any sort of sustained chemistry, especially when it comes to instinctively finding those pockets of space. Now, where he's still the most dangerous is off the rush. Averaging 1.33 rush chances per game, he ranks 5th amongst forwards in the league because of how well he sets himself up away from the puck prior to possession. This is a skill that I think Nathan MacKinnon has absolutely mastered, and really, it's a staple trait of elite and franchise centers in the NHL to be able to drive play up the middle of the ice. Even when he was struggling, you'll see Bedard frequently building speed prior to possession so that when it does arrive on his stick, he either has a massive speed or a gap differential to exploit. Again, his shooting percentage is down, but if the process holds steady, more pucks will eventually start going in. And what's amazing is that despite all the struggles and areas for growth in his game, he is still the leading scorer on the Blackhawks and by far their most dynamic player. Yet the pressures and expectations of being the next one naturally have him and everyone else expecting more out of the second youngest player in the league. Playing on a losing team takes a heavy toll on a player's confidence, especially on a player who carries the title of being a generational superstar. And while this season may be a lost cause for Chicago, it is incredibly important for the growth and future of Connor Bedard's game.